Cool. So as you guys know, this is basically an Ask Me Anything. It's just a casual sort of thing. So the idea is if there's any burning questions or news or really anything, it's just totally casual. Anything that comes up, that's what this forum's for.
Okay.
Mark,
I've got a question.
Yeah,
sorry, I've got a question. Harold, just with the latest updates, I'm not sure if anyone's experienced the same thing. I've got the Model 3, and when I've got it on cruise control or autopilot, and it comes just to a bend on the road, even if it's a slight bend, it brakes. It drops about 12 to 14 kilometers an hour, and then crawls around the bend, and then accelerates again. And any traffic behind you just kind of banks up, and gets a bit annoyed. So I was just wondering if anyone else has experienced that since the last update, and if there's a way that we can actually stop it from doing that.
You got 2020.20, I think it is, or 16?
It was only a couple of days ago, so I imagine I'll have a quick look. It's only since this last update.
Yeah, I mean, I've got an older Model X, but I have actually noticed in my car that when it goes into a fairly sharp bend, it actually slows down. Probably, I don't know whether it's.
Yeah, mine does it on gentle bends. But yeah, mine doesn't do it on sharp bends. It does it on fairly gentle bends. Ones that you would maintain speed, but it drops about 14 kilometers an hour.
Right. Does the TAC speed indicators change, or it just slows? In other words, like say if the speed limit is 60, it's set at 60 on autopilot.
Yeah.
Does that maintain the 60 but then go slow around the corner? Yeah, right.
I was doing 70. I was doing 70 today, and as it came around the corner, it dropped to 56, but the TAC still said 70. And then once it got it, and it wasn't even a corner; it was just a bend in the road like that, and it did it all day, in every regard. So I just sort of found it like, and people behind you, they kind of you can see them banking up and getting quite annoyed at these Tesla drivers. But,
yeah, I dare say a lot of us are getting used to covering the accelerator. So you sort of have your foot hovering over it, and then if the car sort of slows down or freaks out or whatever, you just push down the accelerator and push through it, which it'll cope with most of the time. But I think you're right. I've noticed in my car, like I said, mine's ancient, but it does do that. You're right. It does sort of slow down and it cautiously goes around corners, which on sharp bends is a good thing because but you're right. It's a little bit conservative. So it does.
Is yours on autopilot, Harold, when you're doing that? Are you on autopilot at that point?
Yes.
What I've noticed with the S, and ours is a 16S, when you drive it hard into a corner without any autopilot on, just drive it hard into a corner. If it thinks you're going to mess it up, it will just slow down. You can have your foot flat to the floor and it'll just take you around the corner at the maximum force that it thinks is appropriate for that situation.
And that's with no autopilot, no TAC. It's just manual driving.
Yeah. Wow. You drive it as hard as you like into the corner. You just belt it into the corner, and it'll slow down and go.
Have you set obstacle aware acceleration?
No, this was we first noticed it on the when we first took delivery of the vehicle. We drove it up to the Blue Mountains, and we were just weaving our way around. And I was like, let's see how this thing goes, and it was just going, nah. And it would just kind of, the software would limit you to stop you from doing anything too stupid.
Yeah, right. Interesting. Anyone else had anything?
I had an issue. I've got a Model 3, and I drove down to Brunswick just after they opened up, and I filled up at down at Eton, supercharged at Eton, and then it just went crazy. It would. If I had on autopilot, it would almost drive off the road. It was just mad. It would just suddenly turn right and do all sorts of stupid things. So I drove half without autopilot and settled it. And then just a couple of drives and it settled down. It's perfect now. Doesn't do the slowing down around bends and things. It's perfect. So I'd say 98% of the time. Occasionally you've got to take over, but it's pretty rare.
Have you got the latest version?
Yep.
So Greg, I'm not sure how that goes. Oh, sorry, John.
Mine was the same. I come down Gooseberry Hill Road and there's a sharp corner there, but I think what's happening is the camera recognises there's something in front of you and it just slows down automatically. And I can't drive it any faster, but I can go in that corner probably at 70 or 80 and the car wants to slow down to sort of 40, 45. So I think it's what the cameras see all the time. This is the issue. Because you go around a corner and there's no white line, then it really has to say it's trying to save you, really.
I know the camera, that autopilot system, it defines the line markings with confidence. So there's like very good marking, and that it sort of degrades. So yeah, it might be that if the markings or its path is degraded to a certain level, it might then slow down to presumably maybe try and adjust for that. Or
and also coming into a dip in the road with no line markings.
Oh yes,
That really makes it upset.
And crests. As it crests over a hill.
The road,
yeah.
Sometimes I've also noticed when I'm on a dual carriageway and I'm on the outside lane because I've overtaken, and it doesn't recognise there's an inside lane. And I indicate and it goes, no, I'm not changing.
It comes and goes, doesn't it? Because sometimes it'll show the 2 lanes and then that other adjacent lane will just disappear.
Yeah.
For a perception reason, and then it will reappear.
I had another problem. Some ute had obviously dropped white paint out of the back and it took that as one of the line markings and disappeared onto the wrong side of the road.
Yes. I guess all you guys have basically had that same experience where you go to intersections and you've got the dotted guidelines that curve around, and sometimes a car will freak out and just dive to the right to basically thinking it's following the road when it's obviously not. G'day, Rodney. How you going? You're on mute there.
Yeah, not bad. Yourself?
Yeah, good.
How's everyone tonight?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, good.
Good to hear.
And
just had my, just had my home link on my Model 3 installed today.
Awesome.
So
good, isn't it? It's good.
Well, it doesn't work with my roller door, so I need to get one of those add-ons. So I've looked it up, found or pulled off the cover, found where I need to wire it in. The manual was no good, but short a couple of pins together and the door moves. So, yep, I've worked out what to do there.
My garage door opener was already the right model, so it just worked.
Nice.
Oh, you're like, my garage door was like 20 years old and it didn't work, and I got an add-on and it works fine. So I bought one, Someone on one of the forums put the Australian way of doing it, because if you get the American way of doing it, it doesn't work.
Yeah, although my wife managed to drive into an open door and the door came down on her.
Oops. Oh, was that the automatic, not the automatic operation?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I've got mine set up so I drive out, it'll close the door. I drive up, it'll open the door. It works great.
Yeah, that's how we have it set. But I'd left the door up for her, and she just drove in, and the door decided to close automatically.
Yeah.
Ouch.
No damage.
That's the important thing.
Mr. Chapman, how you going?
I'm very well, thank you. How is everyone this evening?
Yeah, good. No doubt you're at work. You're hard at work.
I am indeed, keeping my little rail network going.
Oh.
Good work.
I think I recognise the spot you're currently at.
I think you might do, Mr. Loudon. We've both done our design work well around here.
You're a little bit clicky there, Richard.
Yeah, so I'm going to come through to the fans and stuff, so it's going to be really hard to hear.
Yeah, cool.
Can't hear the UPS's buzzing at least, so that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, feel free for anyone if you've got. I mean, I've got my Model S is 2015 85D 81, so I don't know if you guys are mostly Model 3s, so my knowledge is going to be sort of less and less relevant for new cars coming in, but I'm happy to help with.
Cool. Yeah, it was very difficult to hear that.
Very difficult to understand what he's saying.
Yes. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
I referred a friend of mine, and he's bought his Model 3, and he's very happy with it. And he used my referral code, but neither of us have got free supercharging.
Did it appear in the account at all?
No.
I thought you only get it when the actual delivery takes place.
Oh, he's had his car a couple of months.
Oh, right. Did he get it from? Did Harry Anderson deliver it to him?
I don't know.
Okay.
Because I asked him about it, he said, "Oh, he wasn't fussy. He'd probably never go and use it, but I have." That's not a big deal, but you know.
Well, it's 1,500 Ks, whatever that equivalent is. So it's nothing to sneeze at. I'll just take a note of that. Yeah, I'll take a note.
Oh, okay. Cool.
It might be. I mean, if you wanted to talk to Harry Anderson, you could mention it to him. But otherwise, we can raise that and just say, "Hey, what's going on?"
Cool. There's no panic. But...
And it was a Model 3, wasn't it, that he got?
Yeah, it was a Model 3. Yeah.
And he did use the referral code as part of the ordering.
That's what he said. Yep.
Yeah, because you can't use it afterwards.
I know.
Yeah, cool. I'll just write a note of that.
Cool.
Referral. When was the car delivered?
Roughly? This car?
Yeah.
Or probably about 2 months ago, I would think. Guessing. Yeah.
So that's probably February or March.
Probably.
Yeah.
I can find out.
Is it on your Is it on your phone? Is it on your app? Does it show as a?
No, it doesn't show. It says a referral link to use if you want to use it.
Yeah.
And I told him that. He said, "Yeah, I used it, but nothing happened."
Okay.
Yeah. Because if you go into the loot box bit in the app and then scroll down to my referrals, you should end up with just any referrals you got listed in there.
Yeah, and I haven't got any. I'm having a look at the moment.
I dare say, and it might be really bad news, that he might not have used it in the way he thought, because I think if you use link, it effectively goes to you could call it a modified version of Tesla's order page, and then you basically decide which model, and then you configure it and pay your deposit, and that's a proper referred purchase.
Right. Yeah.
But if at any stage he sort of clicked out of that or something, or and unfortunately Tesla are militant at not retrospectively doing referrals. They just flat out refuse.
Yeah.
So because I haven't really had a proper referral. I mean, I had one a couple of years ago, but Rod, have you had a referral? I thought as soon as an order's been placed, even though it's not delivered, you'll get the indication that there is a referral in the system, and then you'll get confirmation that it's actually been delivered, and then therefore you get your prize. Is that what happens?
Yeah. So when they've first placed the order, it goes in, and I think it says pending, and it just sits there basically until delivery, and then it just switches to delivered with a little green tick, and then it adds you kilometers. And so I've seen a couple of them do it that way. I think Richard, you've had a bunch of referrals back in the day, didn't you?
I think I had. I've got four. 3 were Model 3s and 1 was a Model S.
Okay, but same basic procedure each time, isn't it? You see them, they appear and come up with I think the status was pending, and then it, when the delivery goes through, you get that.
Yes, it does. I can see them all completed, including yours in the app.
Yep.
Interestingly, I can't see the original, the first one, the Model S that I got, which is how I got the CHAdeMO adapter. That was my country award. I can see yours. I can see Joe and Seb's Model 3 and. But I can see the state. I could see the status update as it went through, ordered and completed, and the dates that it completed.
So Richard Cooper, I dare say, sadly, I think he didn't do it properly, and
yeah. So he didn't get it. I didn't get it. Yeah, yeah. That's cool. That's logical. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's better to know than to wonder. But
yeah, sounds like it.
I think the lesson there is if you give anyone else a referral code, they have to actually input it as the website. You know, the ts.la/ and then the code, and then they got to order it through that. I mean, they can configure the car and look at it and play with the values, you know, on Tesla's website, but then deliberately get out of that and into the referral code. Because I don't know that you can actually put a referral code in once you've got the standard order form open. So you've really got to do it through the link. So obviously that fish has gotten away, but next time you know, I guess.
No worries.
Interesting on that point about the free supercharging. Just from this discussion, I looked in the loot box on my app, and when I bought the car, and I got it about 7 months ago, I got 7,500 free kilometres. And on my app right now, it says it expires on the 30th of the 6th, 2020.
Oh, yes.
Interesting. So I've had a car 7 months and I'm going to lose it anyway.
And the thing is, you didn't have, for at least 2 months, you were specifically barred from using the most isolated supercharger in the world.
Well, I never got the car because it was delayed for 4 months. And they brought out all Model 3s.
Didn't I hear that was going to be extended? Because of the coronavirus pandemic, I thought they were going to extend the duration that the free supercharging kilometres were going to be able to be used for. Well, I did see that somewhere. Anyone else know?
Yeah, so it's definitely happened, but I think it depends when they were credited to your account. Because the initial 1,500 I got for using your referral code when I bought the Model 3, those ones still expired on the due date they were meant to expire on. But since then, I've referred 2 others, and so I've got 3,000 credits sitting there, and their extension was pushed out until, was it 7th of May 2021? So I guess that would have usually been 2-3 month extensions, but it looks like it was a full year, so basically doubled the duration it would have been otherwise.
John, it might be worth your while to contact, I was thinking whether you should contact Adam in Netherlands, or maybe someone like Nick, if you just ring the standard service number, the 1-800 number, and just say, hey, look, you know, these things are expiring and I've had no chance to use them. How about you extend them? And ask it as a question. I think if we tried to do it with Tesla, they'd probably say, well, no worries, give us each of the members' names and details and, you know, blah, blah.
It's interesting now they never tell you this when you buy the car, then.
Well, no. So I think you should put that argument to them and give them the opportunity to do the right thing, and see what they say. And if they tell you to get lost, well, then let us know. But, you know, I can't see it's unreasonable for them to extend it, because you've only had the car for a few months, and part of that time you were literally banned from using it. You couldn't use any supercharger.
Another interesting thing too, I noticed that came up on my screen the other day, was that the free Wi-Fi package is going to expire as well.
Yeah, I think that depends on when you place the order.
Well, I placed the order in May last year and got the car in October.
Oh, so you placed the order on the 31st of May, was it? The day the order page opened?
Someday in May. I actually ordered it online with the Melbourne office.
Oh, okay. Because I had the reservation, and then on the 31st of May when orders opened.
This is for the Model 3.
For the Model 3, yeah.
I've got a next then.
Okay. I wouldn't have thought it would be different, but it might be. But yeah, the Model 3 anyway. Placed the order on the 31st of May, and I originally got the email saying that I'd need to pay for it, but then if you go into my account now, it just comes up as free lifetime. So I think anyone who ordered before the was it 30th of June last year. I think it was free up until then.
All right. I'll check that out as well.
Yeah, I guess check your account and see if it says it's free for lifetime or not. Just see where it was. I checked it.
That should be in the My Tesla account, I think, when you log in.
Okay.
I think it is. I'm just checking.
Yeah, I'm just checking as well. If it comes up.
Yeah. So if you log in and then in your vehicle you go to manage, and then once you're managing you go to details. It comes up in there under car details, and so down the bottom it says subscriptions, premium and connectivity, free, unlimited.
Okay.
Okay, so just click manage.
And yep. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, it's got premium connectivity. But it doesn't really say it's running out. So obviously in my case, it's permanent. I presume.
I think that's what the free unlimited there means.
Yes. Oh no, sorry. Yes, you're right. Yes, because I've got free unlimited supercharging lower down. Yeah, you're dead right. So that is free unlimited. So I guess there it would say whether it's unlimited or limited, I guess, with an expiry date. So try that one out, John.
Yeah, we'll do. While we're on that though, is there any way you can get any charging stations on your map?
Sorry, say again. You mean PlugShare or Teslas?
Both.
Yes. Let me just. I'll just share that coming up. Yep. Yes. Now we'll go. Which ones do you want, John? You want?
The 3-phase Type 2. Well, actually,
so we've got 3-phase Type 2 supercharger, and I'll also show CCS.
Yes.
Which is relevant for all the modern cars. Unfortunately, most of the CCS, which is the ROC electric highway, doesn't work. And doesn't look like it's going to anytime soon.
There was an update to that yesterday. I think if you're in the ChargeStar users group on Facebook, they said they've throttled the stations back down to 20 kilowatts again, and they've got them working with Model 3s again. But obviously that slows down the speed for everyone, which is not
ideal.
It's not a long-term solution. Yeah. Or is it? So it's the eStation Australia is the user on the ChargeStar users group. And yeah, so they said, what is it? Wellington Street in the city, then Harvey, Bunbury, Busselton, Dunsborough, Margaret River, and Augusta are all currently set to 20 kilowatts, and they're hoping some people can test them with Model 3s this weekend, just to see if it has fixed on all of them, because they've only tested Dunsborough so far. So the new 2020.16.2.1 firmware is meant to fix this.
Right, cool.
Or is meant to have an effect on it, not necessarily fix. Because they've been in touch with a European utility of some sort that have got a bunch of the same SIR control units deployed.
Yeah, that's in Scotland, I believe.
Scotland, was it? Yeah. And they reckon that they've, since the new firmware, it's been working for them. But for us, it still seems to require the 20 kilowatt limit. So, yeah, if you're going to be down south this weekend with the Model 3, yeah, jump on the Facebook page, and there's a number there you can call them on or message them, so they can look at the session while you're trying to connect and see what's going on and maybe have a proper solution.
Yeah, well, as you can see there, MK is on the 9th of June yesterday has said it seems to work with the 20 kilowatt throttle at Dunsborough, as you indicated. Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, they want a few more people to test it and see how it goes.
Right.
And yeah, I think Ken Taylor messaged on that he was going to be down there, so he'll give it a go. I think he has a Model S though, doesn't he? So
it doesn't matter. I think in that sense it doesn't matter, because the problem is the same. Like even in my car, I've had my car upgraded to CCS2, and I think all the comms and all the protocols are identical throughout the Tesla fleet.
Yes, it has the same issue.
Yes, it has the same issue. So I was helping Patrick Finnegan out in Mandurah many months ago to try, and he was doing firmware updates on various sub-modules of the circuit control unit, and we were struggling to get it going, and it wasn't really working that well. So yeah, so for instance, John, your X will be the same as the 3s. Although you have an adapter, it's still the same principle. So that applies to anyone with a new S or a new X with an adapter, or all the Model 3s. But those who have a CHAdeMO adapter, and the club has 2 that can be borrowed for S's and X's, that's an alternative that will work, albeit I guess now it's going to be throttled back to 20 kilowatts. But that only works, unfortunately, for S's and X's. There is no CHAdeMO adapter for Model 3s.
Be interesting to see if the CHAdeMO is slowed down to 20, or if it's potentially if they've got different current limits between the 2 connectors.
That's possible. That's entirely possible, and that would be good, I guess. For
you'd hope,
yes, yeah, especially for S and X owners. Yeah, of course, that would be great. But I guess that's an experiment we'd have to do. Well, actually, the one in town. So I presume the RAC one in Wellington Street.
Yeah, that's on the list.
Okay, cool.
So you could give that a go. But yeah, I mean, the way they've written it, it does say that the CCS2 charging has been set to 20 kilowatts. So hopefully it's only affecting that. So I mean, that'll still affect, I guess, like Kona owners.
Yes, absolutely.
There's not a huge number of CCS2s in big numbers yet. Something
else for everyone in the room to be aware of is do check PlugShare to make sure it's CCS2 and not a couple of the units that are still CCS1, because that won't fit. So the big pro tip, if you're doing a road trip, is look at the charges that you think of going to, and just thoroughly read the description under PlugShare, and also look at the status, because sometimes other users, even earlier that day or the day before, might have reported that something's broken. So you don't want to sort of get to a charger and really need it, and then only find that it's either not working, the wrong equipment, or some other issue.
Well, coming to that, can I just ask a question? At the end of the month, Linda and I are going to Busselton for one night, picking up some friends, going to Albany for 3 or 4 nights, coming back to Busselton, coming back to Perth over about a week. What would be decent places to charge? I can fill it up in Busselton, because there's the shopping centre there. I've had a look on the thing. I was thinking the Bridgetown's got one. I can go through there. The trouble is, they want to go through Manjimup, Pemberton going, and Mount Barker, Rocky Gully coming back. which is going to make life difficult. And I thought I can top up at Bridgetown, then we can go Manjimup, Pemberton. That Pemberton one is a bit iffy, I think. I can't remember exactly what it was. And then maybe get to Albany. And then on the way back, I was going to go to the Sandalwood Cafe. Has anybody been there? Have they still got a charger working?
Yeah, I've done the Sandalwood Cafe. That's pretty good, that one.
Yeah, I like the cafe as well.
A quick note there, Nigel. The Bridgetown, if you're doing the fast DC charger, it's not compatible because it's CCS1. So
yeah, I was going to just plug it into the Type 2, I thought.
Oh, right. Yeah, of course. Yes, you can do that. And for that, you'll get 70 kilometres of range per hour through the Type 2, which it has.
Yeah, that would do quite nicely.
I mean, it can actually, in this instance, it can actually provide 50 kilowatts, but unfortunately your car's onboard charger can only absorb 11 of those 50. So, but you will get 70 kilometres plus an hour.
Yeah, okay. The other thing is that a couple of places we might end up have only got Type 3 chargers, a three-phase plug. So I was just wondering how I go about borrowing that and a spare tyre for being out in the middle of nowhere.
Yep. When are you going?
Leaving Monday the 29th.
Yeah, that should be okay because we've got a spare the models, and you've got a SR Plus. I mean,
yeah,
Model
3 SR Plus.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so our spare tyre is coming back Thursday next week. So yes, you can certainly borrow that.
I'll be back the following Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, yeah. No, that'll be fine.
And the three-phase plug?
Yes, we will have either the basically the UMC. Sorry, I'll just cut that.
Yeah, I know what the UMC is.
The UMC tail. It won't have this connector on it, but it'll have that to plug into UMC. Or we'll have your Generation 2 UMC, or we'll have a Generation 1 UMC with the three-phase plug bolted onto it as an option, either or. They're fairly similar. The tail that plugs into your UMC will get you 50 kilometers of range per hour, roughly. And the old Generation 1 UMC that has the three-phase plug connected to it will get you about 70 kilometers, which is obviously better. But it just depends on whether that's being borrowed by someone else or whatever.
Yeah, okay. So I just contact you, Harold, to book time?
Yeah, just secretary. Yeah, just secretary at TOCWA.org.au, and we'll set that up.
Great, thanks.
And hello, Christopher. Welcome to the group.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry I couldn't join earlier. It is kind of dinner time for the kids. Time to put them
yeah, cool. No worries.
But now Fat Cat says it's okay. I can join.
We've all been there. We've all been there, Christopher. We know. We feel your pain, even if it is a distant memory.
Harold, just getting back to the plug share map and on the map of the car.
Yes.
So on the map in the car, how can I get any of these charging points showing?
The short answer is you can't. So
well, you can get them if you touch the screen down on the bottom left. There's I think it's the bottom one of 3 little toggles. If you hit that, then you can get a list up in the charging for the navigate, which is down on the right of it.
That's sort of true, Nigel, but it's limited. I'll show you what you get.
It's better than nothing.
Oh no, that's right. What it's limited to is what you'll basically see is the Tesla supercharger and sort of nothing else. So you'll get to see this in your car roughly, but it will also show a similar pin for every place that you have visited and charged at. but it doesn't discriminate between whether it was a fast DC charger or a 10 amp socket. But it will show you those extra pins. So if you've never been down south, it'll only the onboard screen will only show you the Tesla destination charges as well as the supercharger. But as you do visit down south and charge at other places, such as 3-phase locations or some of the ordinary Type 2 locations, then your car will start filling out all those pins.
Can you send an address straight from PlugShare to the nav?
Yes, well, yes and no. You under PlugShare on the app, you go get directions, and then you can use, well, if it's an iPhone, you can use Apple Maps or Google Maps. And from when you do that, you can then go share to car, and it'll share to the Tesla app, which will then share it to the car, send it to the car. And I believe it does that even if you're not in the car. So you could actually just
Android as well.
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
That feature's actually been really useful. So I've been going to pick Emma up in the city, but she's moved locations. She'll send a new location where she is to the car while I'm driving, and it will come up on the nav, and I'll go, yep, accept that. Brilliant. I love that feature.
Another pro tip too is if you have a calendar entry in your phone and you include its address, when you click on that entry, because that'll come up on your screen, on your main screen, you can just tap on the calendar entry and it'll actually just navigate to that calendar entry if there is a address there. Because again, it feeds off your phone app straight into the car.
Yeah, I use that. It's great.
Yeah. Oh, and the other pro tip too is, I mean, I presume all you guys know, but I'm not sure, is if you want to automatically navigate to home or work, you just swipe the navigate arrow or the word navigate to the right, and it'll interpret, well, put it this way, if you're at home, it'll basically automatically select work. And I think it also adjusts for your regular patterns. So I dare say if you've got shift work or something, it'll adjust to that and realize that you want to go to work. And obviously when you're at work and you swipe right, it'll navigate you home. So that's another little pro tip you can do with navigation.
Just on the charging there, Harold, I think one of the latest software updates, at least on the Model S, gave me an option to select on the charging points between what you consider high power and low power chargers. I think, yeah.
Yeah, the weirdness.
More about that. I remember seeing something had changed.
Yeah, you see like a 1 lightning bolt sort of thing, and then there's a 2 and a 3.
That's it.
Yeah. The weird thing is that if you only select the number 2 lightning bolt, you get nothing. So that's almost implying that's like an intermediate charging level. Maybe it's one of the urban superchargers, which we don't have, which are limited to 75 kilowatts. Because obviously if you only select the 3 lightning bolt, all you get is Eaton. And obviously if you select the 1, you get all the destination charges. But I don't know whether, the additional pins that you lay down as you go driving around, I don't know whether it senses whether that was a high power charge or not, and includes those pins as well, or filters them. I'm not sure. That would be an experiment to do, I guess.
Seems to classify them as low for those I've charged it anyway, which were low.
Cool. Have you had any experience of doing like a fast charge, like on one of the RAC chargers, and it's showing it?
Nope, I've got a Model 3, so couldn't.
Yes. We did hear that there is some changing, that some of those stations have been changed around. So they've been limited to 20 kilo. You were here for that part of the conversation?
No, I wasn't, sorry.
Oh, okay. So Rod, do you want to just quickly just repeat that?
Yeah, so if you are going down south, it's probably worth signing up to the Charge Star user group on Facebook. That's where you get all the information about it.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, they posted yesterday saying that They've configured a number of stations, which is Wellington Street in the city, then Harvey, Bunbury, Bustleton, Dunsborough, Margaret River, and Augusta. All of those have been configured down to 20 kilowatts, and they've tested Dunsborough so far, and it's working successfully with an SR Plus running the 2020.16 firmware. So they should be able to work. They've said if you are going down there, if you can message them through Facebook or give them a call, they'd love to monitor the logs and stuff as you're trying to connect a Model 3 to it, just to try to work out these firmware issues.
I'm heading down as far as Dryandra, but there's none of their chargers out that way, I don't think. So.
Yeah, not super familiar with it. Where's that?
Just one question. I'd noticed errors in the map itself, lanes, speed limits. Anything we could do to fix that ourselves? Is it based on OpenStreetMap, Google? Anything we can modify?
Based on Google Maps, isn't it?
I heard it was OpenStreetMaps, but I don't have any proof of that. But I mean, ultimately, it's whatever the nav data is loaded on the Tesla. So even if OpenStreetMaps gets an update, you're still waiting for the next nav data update from Tesla.
On screen,
I'm happy to wait. I mean, I know it's not as good as Waze, but I'd still like to feel I could do something.
It actually updates. It's just updated. A lot of cars have been getting it in the last few days, and it's 2020.24, and the last version we had was 2019.24. So it looks to be an annual thing. And yes, quite frustratingly, and you did right. I mean, there's some clangers all over the place. If you go, say if you get off the freeway going towards UWA, so if you come from south, going north across the Narrows and get off to go into Mounts Bay Road, if you're on autopilot, there's a section that says 50, then it goes to 60, and you're on 60, and then it suddenly reduces to 50, and then about 50 meters later goes back to 60. So you've got all these little anomalies. And yet, like Rodney said, even if OpenStreetMap was altered and up to date, you got to wait till the next update. Unfortunately, it's not live. I think, like Nigel alluded to, there is Google Maps is what shows on the MCU, but that's not necessarily the actual data, such as speed limits and even navigation that's used by the car. So they're two separate.
Well, there was actually a tweet a little while ago where I think Elon was just responding to someone asking if speed sign recognition would be coming soon, and the response was a one-word yes. So I mean, once that gets here, it probably solves the problem in most circumstances. But an Elon soon is anyone's guess, especially in Australia.
I would say I love that about my autopilot one, in that it does have speed limit recognition. It's the one thing that AP2 cars don't have. It's like, yes, still better in one way. Just.
That's right, because Richard has never lost it. He always had it the whole time, which was speed limit sign recognition. And there was talk, I think, or speculation that maybe it was a patent that Mobileye had that might have been impeding Tesla from implementing speed limit reading.
Yes, because they had to write their own, didn't they, when they fell out?
No, I guess they've probably got to write it in using a different method that's not subject to the patent, I guess. And who knows how broad that patent was. But yeah, you're right. It was. You're right, Rodney. It was. Muskie said yes.
Yeah. So.
The only time I found it is annoying though is that I remember a particular time I was going through a speed limit zone where there was some roadworks, but the sign to go back to 110 had fallen over. So the car was, as far as the car was concerned, it was still 60 k's an hour, and it would not let me put autopilot on for 110. But edge cases.
Yeah, I would have thought it would have reverted to the map data, or
wow. Yeah, it did.
Did you try and flick off? maybe you should try and click off autopilot, disengage it, and then re-engage it, and then it might have actually forgotten that.
No, I don't, because I think it still came up in the display as what the speed limit, what it thought the speed limit was.
Yeah, that's a shame. Buy a new car.
Cybertruck, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Too right.
Here's a question for you on autopilot. I went down south a little while ago, and if you're going from 100 to 110, it'll go 110 on the red, and unless you click the red button, it'll spin. If you don't, it just sticks at 100. But a couple of times I was driving along, and it came down to an 80, and my little sign on my dash went 80, and the car slowed down on its own. That was nice. And then it didn't.
And when I went around Australia, I went to all these little towns where I was doing, well, in my case, I was doing 100, not the speed limit, because I had to conserve energy, but it would automatically go down to the local speed limit. You go through the town at the correct speed limit. And then when you get out the other side and the limit goes back to 110, it'll go back to the speed that you were doing in that same speed zone automatically. Wow. As soon as you get to Perth, it stops doing it. And we don't know why. Yeah. It's almost like a policy. They've defined certain roads or classes of roads where it will not automatically reduce and increase. Whereas
I didn't realise all of the rest of you found exactly the same. Yeah, I thought it only seems to work on road trips. I never knew why.
Yes, so in my big road trip around Australia, it worked perfectly, and it was quite frustrating because it was wonderful, and then you really miss it when you get back to town or the major city, and it just refuses to do it, even though we know it can.
I always thought that's what there's a toggle switch in there for, I think, keeping your speed as either offset or absolute. And I would have thought that, offset would mean if the speed drops by 20, your cruise control speed would drop by 20. But in the city, it definitely doesn't function that way. The changing between the two of them in Perth doesn't seem to have any effect.
No.
I haven't tried it down south.
I thought there's absolute and relative, isn't there? There's...
that's that.
Because there is one where you can basically, if the speed limit is, say, 70, and you set it to +5, it will just drive at 75, 70 limit.
Yeah, but then if it goes up to 80, it doesn't go to 85, it just stays at 75. So I always thought that's what the idea behind it was, but it's never worked for me that way.
Mine's never adjusted speed limit automatically.
No, it doesn't do it around the city.
Except coming off the freeway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It's starting to do that now. When you get off ramps, it sort of progressively goes down by 10 km/h increments, but it doesn't actually ultimately follow the speed limit. It just sort of slows down to what it thinks is reasonable for an off ramp, whatever that setting is, which is a bit mysterious.
Seems to keep slowing down until you give it some input. Because I've had it go down to, in 70 zones, it'll drop down to 60. And at that point, I generally tap the accelerator and it goes back.
I've just left mine to see what happens, and it goes down to 60 and it stays at 60, even if it's the 70 zone.
Okay. So
yeah.
Just an assumption there, I guess.
I guess it's a moving feast that is improving organically. It's one of those things.
Oh, has anyone else experienced the car indicating when you're not on Navigate on autopilot? Because I've found it at 2 spots. Yeah, yep. I'm not the only one by the look of it.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Yeah. The people behind you are like, what the hell are you doing? I found heading north and going into Graham Farmer Freeway from Kwinana, and heading north going from Kwinana Freeway into onto Roe Highway.
Yep.
At both of those, the car just starts indicating for no good reason, and it's not on NOAA, so yes. I don't think it should be indicating, but it is.
I haven't had that.
It's only those 2 spots, but it does it every time. It's not just occasionally.
Yeah, it does it to me on as you go up Tonkin Highway north, getting towards Malaga, and then you go to the off ramp for it to go into Reed Highway. and there are 2 lanes, and it will just sort of start indicating to the right. And it's like, I don't want to do that. And when you try and cancel it, if you do it too hard, you'll then get the indicator
go
going
the
to
other way.
left. And then you try and turn that off, and it makes you look like an idiot, unfortunately. And it's kind of embarrassing. And yes, I wish Tesla would stop it. It's not nice.
Yeah, if I was on NOAA, I'd understand it. You know, the car's trying to do it, but if I'm just on, you know, cruise control, TAC, it shouldn't be doing that. Because it's not easily overridden either. As you said, you got to fiddle with the stick, and if you go too far either way, then you're indicating that way.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Okay. Oh, I'm not the only one, at least.
Oh dear. Cool. So, any other foibles or anything that anyone's got, or comments or anything?
Rob, you've been pretty quiet since you joined.
I'm just listening in. Sorry, Chris.
Fitted mudguards on Monday. We're heading to gravel tracks and probably mud, given the weather. I'll try and assess what the fuel economy, energy economy is like, which would be pretty difficult. You can't really account for wind too easily. If it's too bad, I'll take them off, but otherwise in which case someone else is welcome to them. But they can go into the pool. But otherwise, I'm happy to let everyone know how they went.
Yeah, cool. You mentioned wind there. You do know that there is a windy app, which is really useful.
No.
Tell you which way the wind is going, and it'll basically project forwards to show you what the wind direction is and its strength on a map. And that can be quite useful because if you're doing a long trip and punching into the wind, of course, that's going to quite significantly alter your economy, which if you're on a long trip and you don't want to charge too much during the daytime, can make a difference. And on the other hand, if you've got a tailwind, well, then you know you're going to have a good day and you know, get much better economy. So yeah, if you just look up Windy as an app on whatever, Google and Apple, that's a good app to have on a long road trip.
Okay, cheers.
So it looks like that, if you can make it out.
Yep, that's the one.
Yep,
that's really good. That's really useful to work out whether it's in front of you or behind you, or if it's a crosswind, it doesn't really seem to matter. It's pretty neutral.
Yeah, you will find a couple of apps if you just search for windy. So the one you're looking for is a red square with 2 white lines in it that sort of
windy.com
down and away.
Yep. The in-app purchases. All right. Thank you.
Cool. So apart from Nigel and Linda, who've got a road trip planned, anyone else planning on getting out anytime soon?
Dryandra, but that's it.
That's not bad.
Probably the limit of the standard range plus on a good day.
What's your 90% range, Christopher?
I've forgotten. Why do you ask 90% rather than 100?
Oh, because normally you only charge your car to 90 daily. So when you look at the slider, it actually has a code. It will say
90% is 329.
Cool. Because when you change,
I've been just going to about 70 daily. So I don't really need it. Yeah.
You see, hang on, I'll just turn off my background.
Which is, the 100% range is less than I was expecting. I've lost.
Sorry, when you move it,
I've lost more than 10 Ks.
You can see there's daily, and then up from there to there, 100 is trip. It says trip.
Yeah.
So that's recommended if you're doing a trip. And obviously it'll show you what range you're going to get in the other side of the battery. But yeah, so you should always charge regularly at 90 or less. And yeah, I mean, 70
I'm charging about 70.
Because that's just basically looking after your battery.
Is there a site where I can see a comparison with other standard range plus Model 3s with the remaining charge after time? Am I below average, on average, worse?
I think a better route planner, I think they have some statistics on how cars are going over time. I mean, what you can do for yourself is just keep a screenshot of what the car says at those different increments, and mainly 90 or even 100, and just keep a record of that over time, and then you'll sort of get an idea of how it's degraded, which it will naturally degrade a little bit, but nothing particularly major. I mean, my car after 133,000 Ks has degraded about 10%, which is really not that much. And it's not likely to degrade all that much more going forward.
Okay.
Yeah, they reckon it plateaus after about 10 to 15,000 Ks, and after that it's just really slow.
Yes.
So you see a bit of a drop off initially, but yeah, to be honest, I've passed 10,000 now, and I haven't checked what my range is since pre-COVID, I think. So yeah, I haven't done many kilometers since then either.
No, nor of any of us.
Yeah. But yeah, maybe it's time to get down south again. Find we've just passed our last long weekend for a while, haven't we? Next one won't be till is it
September? Queen's holiday.
Yeah.
Yep. But you can still create a long weekend or whatever.
Well, true. I've got some time in luauing, so just find a time to use it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Exactly. Go past Eden, hoover it up. You got to pay for it. So
end of September is the next long weekend.
I've got 3,000 kilometers there.
Oh, sorry. Yes, you do. Yes, of course.
Heaps of credit. I won't get through it by the time it expires, unless they build a supercharger in Coburn. Yeah, I'm guessing there's been no word on superchargers, even though the number of cars is probably. Do we know what the number's up to? I mean, it was 5 to 6.
So James kind of told me in an obscure kind of way. He said we've got about 100 cars per staff member now. Like 5, 6 staff members. So
100 per staff member.
Say again.
Sorry, 100 per staff member.
Yeah, but that would figure like 500 or 600.
That's 6 guys, don't they?
At least, yeah.
So would that be about right to what we thought?
I would think so, because I think we had the best part of the upper part of in the 100, like between 100 and 200 of S and X. And it's entirely plausible that we've had at least 300, if not 400 threes, at least. So yeah, 600 is probably a pretty good figure. And I mean, I don't know about you, but whenever I drive around town, I almost can't go a day without seeing a Tesla.
Yeah, exactly. So pretty much every decent guy around Perth, I'll see at least one.
Yes, yeah. So clearly there are, it's highly plausible that there'll be 5, 6, possibly touching 700. That's entirely plausible. I mean, there's a pause now, but that'll accelerate, in the next months once deliveries resume again. And God, when the Model Y comes out, it's going to explode. It's just going to literally explode.
So, do we reckon Model Y is the first going to come from Shanghai, though?
Hope so.
I do as well.
Thailand is right-hand drive. Japan is right-hand drive. Hong Kong.
Yes, yeah.
And I think Hong Kong might be the linchpin, because obviously Hong Kong's part of China, and it just doesn't make
there were a lot
Tesla
sold in Hong Kong before they changed the rules.
Sorry, say again.
There was like a flood of Teslas going into Hong Kong because there were very generous subsidies or alleviation taxes there, and then once they stopped, it just went to almost nothing.
Yeah, true. But it is a right-hand drive market, and it's a Chinese market.
Is, yeah, as is well, all of what was French Indochina, so Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam.
Oh, is that right-hand drive as well?
Yeah.
Still? Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So obviously
Indonesia.
We're really. Oh, yeah. But Tesla aren't in Indonesia yet. But the main thing is, I would have hoped that because Hong Kong is right-hand drive, and Tesla would want to sell Model Ys in Hong Kong, and it just doesn't make sense for them to specifically import right-hand drive versions from Fremont, that hopefully the Shanghai Gigafactory will produce right-hand drive Ys, and if they do, then it just makes absolute sense for them to go to Australia, even though that's never been Tesla's stated position of exporting from Shanghai. But it makes sense. It's a no-brainer. So let's hope, because it'll be cheaper, and well, whatever, it'll be cheaper and quicker.
Yeah.
And that's a build quality, I think.
Sorry?
And better care and consideration put in by the workers in putting them together, I think.
Absolutely, yes. And actually more modern equipment, because Shanghai is probably storing that mega die-cast machine that's going to cast the whole piece instead of the two pieces for the Model Y. So that's probably being installed at that Gigafactory complex soon. There is one also going to Fremont, I think, but you can bet that the Chinese Model Y will have that too. And Berlin, for that matter, as well. Yeah, let's hope that they do come from China, because it means we'll get them quicker. Whereas, beforehand, the Model 3 took 2 years to get to Australia, if not from when it was first produced in Fremont. I think it was a good more than 2 years, probably 3 years, Rob.
1,309 days after I put down my down payment, I got my car.
Oh yes, that's when you reserved it on day one in April 2016.
16, yeah.
But it was worth the wait, hey?
Oh, absolutely. And then I waited another couple of months because I wanted the all white interior, so that put me back in the back of the queue.
Oh yeah, but definitely a good choice.
Oh yeah, so it's superb.
Excellent. So Richard, what's your next Tesla going to be?
Cybertruck maybe, as long as someone else buys one first, and then I can try and park it in our garage, and then park it in Rockingham at the Dive Retro, and take it to the shops and see if it's not
going to fit. It's not going to fit in your garage, so don't worry about it. And the rain, and the rain wouldn't dare fall on it.
It just be kept off by the essence of musk. I am thinking, maybe, that R1T is looking very compelling, but it will depend on the cost as well. I think the Cybertruck base model is just so compelling for the price. If that's going to be about 80 grand, what it is, but then, double the price will get you double the range, and you can tow a boat.
Well, actually, it's going to be less than that. I've predicted that it's going to be 135,000 delivered.
Yeah.
For the tri-boat.
Okay. I was looking more. Yes, I think I worked out. I think I actually went at the time onto Tesla's site, and I configured current Teslas for the same price of all the three 40,000, 50,000, and 2000 models, and I think it came out as 75 grand, 115, 135. But then, you know, if there's a solar roof option, if there's a camper option, you know, then that could get up to 150 for everything.
And when you work those out, you did eliminate luxury car tax because the Cybertruck is exempt.
Well, I didn't know if it was. So no,
It is. It definitely is because it's the ATO has got a new definition. They used to have like a list, like a white list of deemed to be commercial, but now they do it by formula, and the formula is something along the lines of the majority of its cargo capacity has to be cargo and not humans. And what they do is they count the number of seats, multiply that by I think 80 kilograms per person, and as long as that weight in people is less than half its carrying capacity, then it's a commercial vehicle or it's exempt of luxury car tax.
Okay.
And
well, that would make quite a difference then. That would that
I guess not much of a difference at the low end, but at the high end definitely.
Yeah.
Well, that might make the high end more compelling.
So the high end should be about 135 maximum landed and delivered with all the taxes, everything in WA, which should be for something that does 0 to 100 in 2 point something seconds and 800 kilometers of range.
Yeah, I just love the idea of being able to drive all the way to Esperance in one hit. I mean, you probably won't get quite that stated range at 110.
Well, to basically be able to drive all day and not have to charge in the daytime, effectively.
Well, that's game over then, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. That's just a game changer. That just changes everything.
But I would, because I've already done, I've done the whole lap years ago in my own four-wheel drive, but I'd love to, but Emma hasn't seen anything, so it would be nice, with baby in tow at some point, the next year or two to actually do a whole lap in a long-range Cybertruck. Maybe 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. Well, when I went from Perth to Carnarvon on the first day of my trip, that's 907 kilometres. And in that day, I did 7 hours and 5 minutes of daytime charging. And that's a long time. Now in a Cybertruck, the 900 Ks would require, hour and a half over lunch. And you'd still do the same distance. And you're doing it while you're having lunch.
Yeah, our stop in Lake Grace, going to Esperance on the way there and back on a long weekend over Easter last year, 4 hours charging each way was just tedious. We were over it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was Easter weekend, so nothing was open. It's the only time it's ever sucked.
Yeah, and that's the great issue with WA, as opposed to say the Eastern Seaboard, where you can go from Cairns to all the way down the coast, all the way to basically Port Augusta, basically.
Yeah.
Effectively using fast DC charging or supercharging, and it's just awesome.
All right. Maximum range Cybertruck it is for now.
Or maybe by then the state government will have built us some fast chargers.
Or not.
Can always hope.
Yes.
Everyone's
or not, which is why we need the max range.
Well, yeah, but if anyone's on Facebook, I think that was posted up in the group there. Just trying to get some votes behind it for the government's post-COVID planning. I think it's been posted in there a few times. And, I think it was actually
Lindsay and David's suggestion.
Yeah.
That one, yeah, brilliant. Yeah, it's up to 130 something last time I looked.
Oh, that high.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying.
I think it was topping the infrastructure list, which is pretty impressive.
Yes, indeed. Let's hope the state government doesn't do about it. I'll just bring it up on the screen share. It's right there.
Yeah.
On the I Think platform.
50.
Wow, that's fantastic. I think my suggestion's getting quite a few votes as well, more than I thought it would.
Yeah, so hopefully that some fruit will bear from it. I mean, really, in one sense, it's a no-brainer because the chargers, if they're tritium ones, are Australian-made, or it's an Australian company. And the great thing is that all those charging locations are basically shovel-ready, so you can implement them very quickly. And you're using the resources of the local electrical contractors, and all the earthworks are all done locally at the regional shires and towns. So it's a great way to stimulate, the WA economy, and also provide that critical infrastructure that people like us would love to use to do trips. I mean,
Yeah, you're getting people out there into these areas that, are looking for people to go there.
Well, that example of going, that example of going from Perth to Carnarvon and taking 7 hours of charging. At the other end of Australia, I drove from Canberra to Melbourne to Keith, and that was 1,200 kilometres, and it took less than 2.5 hours of supercharging. And that was 1,200 Ks in one day, compared to 7 hours to do 900.
I think I did, me and my mate did Bournemouth in the UK to the Orkneys in 16. So, that's, one end of the UK to the other.
Supercharging the whole way?
Supercharging the whole way, and then over to Hamburg, Germany, and then back to Bournemouth. All superchargers. So many. It's like you're going to a service station, you don't even need a charge, and there's a supercharger.
Well, Rochelle and I have gone around Europe for a few years and using a Tesla. And I mean, it's funny because I must admit, when you're on the Autobahn pushing nearly 200, then you really are using juice.
It's so satisfying, though, to like flash BMWs, Mercedes out of the way.
Absolutely.
Parallel through. You're like, even if I have to sit at the next supercharger for longer,
it's
I'm going
worth
to be
it.
doing 250 Ks an hour and getting you guys out of the way.
It's mind-blowing, and you see just that little red speed bit at the 250, 248, and it goes red, and it's like, and it just feels wrong. But it's awesome.
Such a sense of righteousness.
Yes, indeed. I think that's why Germany have so many wind turbines, because they resolutely refuse to reduce the speed limit to get better fuel economy, so as to have less emissions. So they're making sure they're offsetting it with all this green power, because they resolutely say it's their right to be unlimited.
Drive what they want.
Yeah.
Well, now they have the Porsche Taycan as well.
True.
Yes, indeed. Cool.
So what's is anyone else planning on buying and upgrading a Tesla at any point? I mean, I know, Nigel, Linda, Richard, you guys, and Rod, with your Model 3s. But,
just got it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Harold, you? Or Rob, you guys?
Yeah, I got a Cybertruck on order. But for me, I'm going to have a similar experience as Richard has had, Cooper. Which I also had with my Model X, which is I waited 3 years for my Model X, and obviously I'm going to wait 3 years for my Cybertruck. So I'm going to have 6 years of waiting. But that's just the way it's going to be, because I think the Cybertruck's it's due for the end of next year in the States, and we'll be at least at the
but look at the 2020 Roadster.
Oh yeah, that's on the back burner. Yeah, that's right. You're right. But don't forget, that's because of the huge liability they've got to give it to all the YouTubers and.
Well, I did wonder that. I did think that they're just looking at it, going, well, we're not going to make any money on this for a while.
Exactly, it's a huge liability because of their silly referral program. Because don't forget, all the YouTubers are winning too.
Yes.
Because under many of the countries, the tax system, they basically win the first one, sell it, and then they'll pay for the tax on both of them. Yeah. So, don't care about the Roadster, but the Cybertruck will be at least a year if not 2, after they make it, and that'll be the end of next year. So it's a long way.
Yeah, 2022. Oh,
at least end of it, baby.
Yeah.
If you were lucky, if we're really
build the factory first.
Exactly. In
factories
in Texas or wherever.
Yeah, that's right.
So actually, just thinking about the Model Y. So we'll be getting Model Ys in Australia then sooner than Europe.
No, because Europe, we can't even order the Model Y yet, and yet Europe have been able to order it. What for a?
No, not the Model Y, because I thought that all the Model Ys for Europe were going to be coming out of the Berlin Gigafactory, which is yet to.
Yes, but the Europeans have already got them on order, whereas we can't in Australia. In Australia, they're not even on order. So I mean, that could change, because if they do suddenly decide that Australia's going to get Model Ys from Shanghai, yeah, that could change very quickly.
I would think they'll sell them as soon as they can to anyone that will pay for them.
But let's just hope they see reason and actually do source supply of Model Ys for Australia from Shanghai, and not be belligerent and get them from Fremont, which is possible. From Fremont. But who knows? But as you know, we can't order them yet. Whereas the Europeans and in the UK, they've had orders for Model Y for months.
Right, I didn't realise that. Okay.
You know, and they were able to lock in the fixed price for the full self-driving already, and which expires end of this month, and we can't do that because we can't order it, unfortunately. Model Y, that is.
Yeah, you know, you guys have overlooked the Tesla Semi. You can order one now.
And it'll come with the roadster.
Because Nikola Motors was in the news quite a bit today because of their ridiculous share price. Elon has opened the order page up for Tesla Semi.
Oh, has he really? Oh, I didn't realise that had changed.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I've not heard that.
124 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres.
That's very good. Well, obviously, I'm laden.
No, fully laden, 80,000 pounds. Yep. Now, the interesting thing is that if you had to charge it at grid prices, that's about $35 per 100 kilometres, which is half the price of diesel. But if you Coles or Woolworths at their warehouses, if they got solar panels on their roofs, they can fuel those trucks very cheaply.
Oh yes.
But I guess they don't have right-hand and left-hand drives, eh?
No, they're universal.
That's an advantage.
Yeah. Good point.
It's not on their website though, Rob.
I saw a photo of it somewhere today.
Must be the US site.
You go try the US site. Is it on there?
No, it's reserved.
Okay, so see down the bottom you got.
It's less than 2 kilowatts per mile.
Yeah, that's 124 per 100 kilometres.
Actually, if we pick,
that's crazy.
If we pick Canada, they might have it for Canada, and that'll be in metric. Oh well, they basically say the same thing. Less than 2 kilowatt hours per kilometre. So it's 2,000 watt hours per kilometre.
Actually, that's quite a bit out. That's
out by 1.6. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
so that's
also the 0 to 100 times way out as well.
25 seconds.
Yeah, because it's 0 to 96 is 20 seconds.
No, but just take it. Oh right, yeah. That's with 36 tons.
No, well, that's still very impressive because a diesel truck takes about probably 50 to 60 seconds to get up to that speed.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
800 k's range, so it's as good as a Cybertruck. 190,000. That's probably kilowatts. Canadian dollars, so that's similar to our dollars.
There's the energy consumption there. Less than 125.
Yes.
But that purchase price is very, very good.
Yes, absolutely.
Prime movers in Australia are up, 350 to 400,000.
And you're right, Richard. Central steering wheel, so that there's no handedness issues.
Yeah, that's a really good. But that's going to really bring down the price difference in retooling for for both markets. That's actually pretty significant.
Yeah, well, there's basically no, it'll be worldwide homologated, so there's basically no issue with with homologation or anything. Yeah, it's a world market prime mover, and really that'll be the catalyst for Tesla to put supercharging across Nullarbor. Well, mega charging.
I was thinking that was. I mean, once mega charging's in, we're fine. But sorry, Rob, what are you going to say?
I've got to be honest though, the Tesla Semi in Australia is going to be in the grocery market. It'll be from Canning Vale to Bunbury, Canning Vale to Geraldton.
It'll be hauling those containers off of the ships at Frio.
Yeah, that's right. In the 400 to 500 kilometres per day, sort of driving, you can imagine at Canning Vale, the Coles warehouse in Canning Vale has enough room for 26,000 solar panels. And those trucks, when they pull in there, they're there for at least an hour and a half loading up. So there's plenty of time to charge the truck. So there's no shortage of time.
Did you vote for my I think WA suggestion to put solar panels in every commercial building?
Yes, Robin did. She saw that one straight away.
It's actually doing quite well. Like 50 votes.
I think everyone agrees with that. It's all that roof space.
I didn't think I'd get people agreeing with it, but no, you're right. Absolutely. The problem here is that there's a significant cultural issue with an electric truck, which we're utterly reliant on road trains coming up here for deliveries. But you say electric semi to some of these guys.
No. Well, the guys who don't agree with an electric semi are not the accountants in the office.
No, exactly. That's why I'm not too concerned. It's just that.
Yeah, but if you went to Melbourne and talked to Lindsay Fox, he's going to say, yeah, my fleet's going to be electric semis.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
because it's about profit.
You either change or you go out of business.
That's it. So I mean, you can drive. You drive down the freeway at night and you'll see endless line of Coles and Woolworths trucks delivering food, freezer stuff. There's big money to be saved there.
But don't forget, in fact, in an urban environment or round Perth, it's ideal because of all the regenerative braking. So the actual economy of the semi will be huge. And the maintenance, no brake pads or shoes, whatever they use. I don't know whether
far less maintenance, but also the other thing is the fact that it can get up to freeway speeds, as the same as traffic does.
They'll be breaking a few cartons of eggs, I imagine.
Yeah. You see them on Roe Highway, all the trucks. All around the back lane. They need to keep up with freeway speeds.
Yeah.
So the semi's going to be a big winner there.
Well, is that Rob? Because obviously you've got many years of experience in the trucking industry. So I was chatting to another guy who had a semi, and he said, no, you won't use it because you'll just damage the goods if you accelerate that fast.
No,
I think it sounds like nonsense. But...
Yeah, it's nonsense. If you smash the accelerator, yeah, but if you just ease off from the lights and it accelerates smoothly, you're not going to have a problem at all.
Which the bad drivers do anyway. So
yeah. it's not you're not going to be doing insane launches in the Tesla Semi.
It's not with the cargo anyway.
Yeah, you can drive that. You can drive that and stay up with traffic, and not do any damage to your freight.
Okay.
Well, wasn't the 0 to 100 if it was unloaded, like if it was just a prime mover? That was sub 5 seconds, I think.
5.5 seconds or something crazy. that's just unbelievable.
Take that down the drag strip.
Yeah, but most traffic, you're in an 80 zone. Most traffic flows. They probably go from 0 to 80 in about 10, 11 seconds. So if a truck can keep up with that, it makes a big difference in traffic flow.
Yes.
It's got to be so much easier for these guys to drive them. You just put your foot down. 16 gears to get through before you. No, it's crazy. Has anyone Has anyone taken anyone for a drive in their Tesla and the passenger has not been impressed? Because I haven't.
Absolutely.
Definitely not.
Yeah, they're all impressed.
Yeah, they all
kids are the most fun though.
I've found when I've got a Model 3 Performance, so it does get up and go.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And when I put my foot down, men laugh and women scream. That's universal.
Yep. Excellent.
Yes, exactly. Well,
sorry.
Go on, Richard.
No, I was just going to say it'd be nice if there was a Perth Gigafactory cranking out semi-trucks and Cybertrucks from, using our nickel and our lithium and our cobalt.
They could build it near green bushes and just suck the lithium out of the ground.
Exactly.
Oh, and the aluminium, they've got bauxite. You got the bauxite mine.
Of course, yep. Yeah, we've got
bauxite.
So
you just stick the bauxite straight into the gigafactory and out pops cars and the nickel. That's right. We got nickel. We got iron ore.
Nickels. I mean,
South 32 has. I was going to say South 32 supposedly has the world's largest reserves of cobalt.
Where's that? Is that South Australia?
No, South 32. So it's the split when BHP became two companies. So
okay.
I'm not sure exactly where it is, but they reckon their holdings include the largest suppliers of cobalt in the world. So they just need to.
I did not know that.
It.
Okay, and I know that 80% of my battery is nickel. So that's going to be. But we've got nickel, right? So,
yeah.
And I think cobalt's being eliminated.
Yeah,
the ATL, they're bringing out a version for the Model 3 that won't have nickel, won't have cobalt.
Oh, that was the LiPo style ones in
the pouch
China. Yeah.
Yep. But that's CATL are doing that for Model 3s apparently in Shanghai. Not yet, but they're going to.
They're the LFP batteries, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, yep. I think you'd be taking a performance hit moving to an LFP chemistry. I think though, because you wouldn't have the same same discharge rates,
same power density.
Be good for trucks though.
Yeah.
Because trucks
difference.
Yeah, because you've got plenty of volume to put the packs, particularly since you haven't got the motor anymore. The engine.
And I want to hasten to add trains as well.
Sorry?
Locomotive engines.
You'd see a few of them.
Particularly if you're running them downhill, just saying.
Oh, geez, yeah. You get to the coast for free.
Well, it's all downhill.
BHP does that anyway.
It's all downhill, yeah. Yep.
Yep, it's a lot of regen, just saying.
Because it's basically a gravity engine, because you're fully loaded downhill.
Yeah, I saw there was a slate mine somewhere in Europe. I'm pretty sure it was, and they were Switzerland, was it? Yeah, they just run the trains, run the trucks downhill, recharge them due to all the mass that they've got. Then get to the bottom, unload it, and they've got enough charge to go back up to the top. And they get loaded up, so they've got more mass going downhill. So they regen more than they use.
That's right. They discharge it.
They actually have to discharge when they go downhill. They can't.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's a classic. It's like a black hole. It's a gravity engine.
Yeah.
So it's literally.
This is why I wonder whether it could work for locos. Carrying 30,000 plus tons of material downhill. GE are also. I've discovered GE have also been doing the design and on the way to producing a battery electric loco with a 2.4 megawatt hour pack. So yeah, that's something I literally learned yesterday. So I don't know if anyone's put 2 and 2 together yet for going. We're running more downhill.
The beauty with the trains is you could just have a few carriages that are just battery carriages. The loco doesn't have to be massively long. It could actually have a carriage that is a battery.
I don't think you'll actually need them, and you've got issues then when they go through car dumpers. There's other considerations to.
I just thought as a set, you'd have the loco at the front. You could have a couple of carriages with the batteries as one set rather than one monolithic.
I don't think you'll need to. I think some.
Yeah, because the loco.
Some careful consideration of where you put batteries inside. If you just take out an entire 40 tons worth of engine and and accessories, 40 tons of batteries will get you a hell of a long way.
These locos are massive, especially those.
Yeah.
The Evos they're running. They're
I reckon if you were clever about it, you could get a 10 megawatt hour package.
And I guess the question is, would that be enough to push all the empty carriages back uphill?
Well, I mean, you've got 4 locos, so maybe. I think so.
So when the locos do go downhill when they're fully laden, I presume they just use, effectively regen on the induction motors to project the heat to radiators into the air.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so there's they're AC traction motors, so they get regen and then just send it to banks of resistors, and that just gets expelled as waste heat. It's so stupid.
So there's a slick of even hotter Pilbara air going behind the train.
Oh, if you've ever worked inside one of those locos in summer, yeah, God, they get hot when the air conditioner's off. Yeah, if it's 50 outside, it's 60 inside.
Cool. Yes, no doubt. No aircon. Well, there should be aircon, surely.
They've got aircon when they're running, but if you're working on them, not necessarily.
Yeah, right. Yeah, of course. Cool. Well, it's just past 9 o'clock, so I guess we could.
Oh, I can go to 5:30 if you want.
Yeah, on the night shift, eh?
Yeah.
You can just give us a time check every minute. Good to see you working there hard, Richard.
Oh yeah. I'm here for faults, right? I've got the radios on in the background. I think it's okay.
Well, I guess it's all about troubleshooting if something happens. That's the whole point, isn't it? If you're not busy, it means you're doing your work perfectly. Everything's smooth.
Exactly.
Proactive maintenance.
Exactly. I'm so good. It's it's just all happening in the background. I've got a Neuralink.
It's all good. Cool. All right. Well, I'm
Alrighties.
going to turn this recorder off.